Hello. Welcome to Title Talk, a podcast for real estate investors where we cover tips, tricks, and trends in the industry.
This podcast is all about providing valuable insights to help you maximize your investment opportunities.
Whether you're a seasoned pro or just getting started, Title Talk is the place to stay in the know and get inspired.
So grab your headphones, tune in, and let's talk title.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome. Episode 3 of Title Talk. How incredibly fun is this?
So fun. I'm excited to be here with you today.
Everybody, this is Dina Jones. If you have not already memorized her lovely face and name, Dina Jones is the vice president of...
I'm the director of strategic partnerships and assistant vice president for Fidelity National Title.
Assistant vice president.
Yes.
So who do we need to knock off for you to be the vice president? I'm just joking, guys. That's not how business is appropriately done.
I think it's just tenure.
Tenure?
Tenure. I've only been there about 8.5 years. I was a client for about 10, but...
You know, the word tenure always used to confuse me when I was a little bit less sophisticated, which I still am, not very sophisticated. But in my lesser sophisticated days, I always thought tenure meant you were there, you were somewhere 10 years. But it's not. It's tenure. It's not 10 year.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I think it was a teacher term originally.
Yes. Well, guys, we have a very, very special guest on today's episode of Title Talk, an incredible real estate investing podcast brought to you by the Fidelity National family. Fidelity National Title family, right?
Fidelity National Title Agency. Yes. You've been working on a presentation for the Fidelity National Financial family today, so I think it's easy to mix them up. You know, one big umbrella, lots of little families, members.
Yes. So it's like one big group under which there are many different verticals or many different little families, right?
Yes.
So it's anyhow, it's an incredible organization, guys. One of the largest title company in the United States.
Yeah, the largest.
And we have Alysia Moore from Fidelity. And I just got to say, guys, my history with Alysia Moore goes back quite a while. Alysia, welcome to Title Talk.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're so glad to have you here. And I'm interested to really get into this because a quick backstory, guys. Alysia, we were trying to figure out before we got on to today's podcast how many deals her and I had closed together. I can guarantee it's over 100, but how many I don't know. Do you have a clue? Can you put a guess on how many deals we'd closed together?
It's probably close to 200 just between facilitating transactions together, coming together through other assignment transactions. We've done a lot of transactions together, a lot.
Yeah, and
even more than that.
Yeah, but we moved to another office and we had actually tried to open our own title company for a little while there. So that I think that's when we broke up, right?
Yeah.
So
you just went on sabbatical, I think.
Yeah, we were on sabbatical and we were taking a break. We were seeing other people. I was seeing other people. You guys,
we've stayed monogamous.
You guys were still good, but in that time, that was quite a while ago. We've now come back to the Fidelity family and happy as we could possibly be working with Fidelity and Jody, who is an incredible escrow officer, but. Alysia, you are, and I still think to this day, one of my favorite people in the business. But what's interesting is after having closed nearly 200 deals together, I didn't know what you looked like. No, I mean, think about that though, right? We had never met in person before. We'd spoken on the phone. If you've closed if you've closed 200 deals with somebody, we probably talked to each other about one deal 5 times, would you say?
Yeah, at least.
So that would have meant 1,000 conversations at least?
Yeah, definitely. At least that.
Think about that, okay? And that to me is a failure on my end because I could have been in that office and leveraging the relationship so much more than I had been. And lesson learned, I could have absolutely really, really gotten more value out of the relationship with you at that time. And my apologies for that, because I didn't give you guys an opportunity to do all of the wonderful things that Fidelity is now doing for us and that I know can help other investors with. So I'm just really grateful to see you here.
Well, I'm grateful to be here. Thanks for having me here. I know it's funny how we all get so busy and so crazy, and it happens more than you think, not putting faces to names and working with people for so long. It's almost became like a routine thing there for a while, especially like obviously through COVID and all that. It was like, you don't get to see people. So it's, I know this isn't truly face to face in person, but it's pretty close.
It is.
Yeah.
And you know what's special about today? Not only do we have Alysia on here, who is going to be sharing with us her experience through her tenure of 17 years in the title space, but we're also going to be giving away some free money, guys.
Yeah.
So it's not too late. We're actually going to save that for the end.
Okay.
Because a couple people DM'd me and Jamil and said they hadn't had a chance to review the podcast yet. So let's give them a chance. Let's give them till the end of the episode. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea. And so if you have or want to win $100, what we would love for you to do is go to Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts and give us a review. Let us know what you think of the show. We are bringing you this incredible content because we understand just how important understanding title and all of the different nuances, the different ways that you can leverage title, the way that you can get into trouble, things to avoid, things to lean in on. And so this is really an important subject matter that very few people dive into. And what Dina and I have realized is title is sexy.
Title is sexy.
Alysia, do you think title is sexy?
It depends. It depends on what sexy you're going for.
The kind of transaction?
Yeah, it depends. It can be real sexy if you get some really, good properties, some high dollar stuff, and then other times we get some pretty nasty stuff, and we're like, and they're a mess, and that's not so sexy. So it's hard for me to say that title is sexy because what we do on this side of it is not always so sexy.
No.
So I think it's like if you are into a man that has facial hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes deals have hair.
Yeah. There you go.
Very,
that
very
could
good
turn
analogy.
you on or turn you off.
Yeah.
Understood.
So back hair, maybe, that's
back
not
hair,
so sexy.
Oh, butt hair?
Yeah. But that's where we're saying it's not sexy.
And on the flip side, it could be ladies with leg hair if you're into
or
that.
butt hair. Anyways, guys, this took a turn. We're gonna get back to the meat and potatoes of this podcast, but we're gonna hop it off real quick, Alysia, by just asking, how did you get into the title business?
Well, I am what they like to refer to as an escrow baby. So I actually grew up in an escrow office. My mom has been in the industry, 30 years now or more. So I would be at her desk at 8 years old, working with her, not really working, but in her office for hours on end. She'd pick me up from school, and that's where I would sit for hours until she was done working. So I have been in the industry forever, but actually got started back in 2006 in SoCal.
Wow.
So I started in San Diego, and I actually had started working under my mother at that point, and I actually begged to get into this industry. Not many people would say that they would do that, but I did. And then when I actually got my opportunity, I made her wait all weekend before I would accept the job. But yeah, I've been in it for
hard to get.
Yeah, I played hard to get. Yeah. But I've been in 17 years now. So I went through the big boom in 2006, went through the crash, went through the big boom through COVID, and now here we are.
Do escrow officers go through the same economic roller coaster? Because I know you guys are paid based off of closed files, right? So
yes.
If deals are falling apart and the dollar value of deals are greatly diminished as they were when, every short sales came back and REOs and, we're talking about houses or, I started buying in Phoenix, Arizona in 2010, 11, and 12. And I really picked up some great deals. But I mean, I was paying $25,000 for a house.
Yeah.
Right. So you pay $25,000 for a house, and the title policy is going to be nothing. Right. It's like it's pennies. And so when you think about that, like you guys were probably really working hard for very little money at that time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, yes, we do get paid very well, but our pay is obviously a reflection of what the market is doing as well. So it's if the market's down, we're down. That's just the ebb and flow of it. So yeah, we do go on that roller coaster as well.
So I also believe that there's riches in the niches. So one of the things that Fidelity did a really good job of back in the short sale and REO days is they made relationships with asset managers, with short sale negotiators at a very high level. So we got the volume to make it make sense because the fees on those files were so low. Would you agree, Alysia?
Yeah, and the short sale lenders they were able to like cap fees and cap what you could charge there for a while. And so, yeah, I mean, we were fortunate enough to, get those relationships through that period of time that kept us all afloat. But, it definitely is an effect. Whatever the market does, it affects us on the title side too. It's just maintaining those business relationships and partnerships and having great partners to help keep us all afloat and keep each other afloat through all of it.
And then diving also really deep on the strategy side, right? So I remember at the time I was on the other side of the business and I leveraged the short sale escalation department when it came to negotiating on short sale files and deals we couldn't get done. They helped us get done. So that was definitely a benefit that leveraged the partnership even after that market changed.
Wow. I didn't realize that you guys got that deeply into the, reignition of the real estate market after the catastrophe of 2008. It was an interesting time for all of us. I also went through a pretty terrible fall in 2008 and then had to climb my way back out of that deep pit of despair. And anyhow,
we're not there anymore.
No. It's good. I'm rich.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about love. Let's talk about love.
Yes.
Talk about love. What do you love about being in the business, Alysia? What do you love about this business?
I truly love that not one transaction is the same. Not a single one. I've done this long enough. I have still come across things and still do come across things that I've never encountered before. So it keeps it interesting. And I like to be, kept entertained per se. I don't want to be in the monotony of just doing the same thing over and over. And you would think that that's what we do, is the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
But it's different scenarios. It's different people. It's different set of issues. Especially on the wholesale side, it's a whole nother ball field of issues that we come across that you might not come across on a regular residential deal. I'm not saying that you won't, but it's more on the wholesale stuff just because of, that's the demographics that, are being targeted on the investment side. So there is a better dollar to be made. But I truly love the fact that every deal is different. Every transaction is different.
I would double down on that and say that not only are they different, but the stories, the way that you're able to affect people's lives in a positive way, right? Especially when we're talking about the kind of situations that we may be dealing in, the kind of properties that we're dealing in, the circumstances that push or make people, find themselves in these transactions where they're selling properties for cash that need to close very quickly. And so you get to see the human side of it, right? Because people are coming in and signing documents at your office and they're talking to you and they're telling you how they feel about whatever went down. And I would imagine they're also telling you about how they feel the players involved in the transaction treated them, right? And so you're probably hearing, so-and-so was really kind to me, or maybe the other. You might be hearing that the person that they were involved in was nasty or mean or very shrewd or difficult to work with and deal with. And so you're going to see and hear all of the different relationship contexts that are involved in these types of deals.
Which is also a blessing and a curse if you think about it, because if you want to have a good reputation in this space, you want to do the right thing by everybody in the transaction, right? So as far as words of advice go, treat everybody with respect and honor and be kind.
Yes. Yes, you have to. And this is the thing, right? What I love is after, Alysia and I had worked together for so long, did nearly 200 transactions. We broke up for a little while and hadn't seen each other or spoke to each other until actually I brought you a deal. That I did on my own. There was a deal that I was able to. It was a multifamily deal, so Keegley wasn't involved in it. We don't really do multifamily, and so there was a multifamily deal that I was. I had been brought in to a client, had asked me to take down a multifamily property with her, and Alysia was involved in that deal because I selected Alysia to be my escrow officer. It had been so long since we had worked together, and I just finally come back to the Fidelity family, and I wanted to do a deal with Alysia and hear her voice again, and just rekindle our business relationship. And you were so great in that deal, and I felt like it was just like we were old buddies again. Like we picked up right where we left off,
Yeah. That was a good deal. It was a good deal.
I think, and what did I make, like $400,000 on it?
You did a good deal. It was a good deal.
Kind of deal.
Yeah, it was
a good one. And I was happily shocked. I was like, Jamil.
Yeah. And then were you also like, man, this guy is knocking it out of the park on these things?
Yes. I have watched your climb. I have watched it, and it's amazing. You're doing great things. You're doing awesome.
Thank you, Alysia. I never get tired of compliments. So as we go, yes, guys, we have nearly 140 people watching this right now, and I'm sure that over the hour more will come in. But do us a favor, like this, please, and share it in your stories on Instagram or share it on your feed on Facebook, wherever. Help us get the message out about this podcast because we want to keep bringing it to you. But, like anything else, Fidelity is going to want to see that people actually like this and actually watch this show. And so do us a favor and leave us a comment and also give us a review on Apple and Spotify. It's just the way that you can karmically give back some reciprocation toward what we are doing here with you guys.
Yeah. Too much water today. Here we go.
Sorry, Bobby. Placed in the wrong spot. Anyhow, so I want to ask you first and foremost, what are some of the things that excite you or turn you on in the world of title?
As far as transactions go, people.
All of it.
Yeah. So on our first episode, I actually talked about, for me, one of the things that is super big turn on is loyalty.
Yes.
And we work really, really hard for our partners, and we really appreciate when they are loyal.
Yes.
So what does that look like for you?
I would say probably the biggest thing is sincerity and being humble and not forgetting the fact that we're human beings on this side of things. And I say that because so many times too, we are the beating stick for a lot of people because sometimes we're the only people that will answer the phone.
Yes.
So we get to hear it all, the good, the bad, the ugly. And so the biggest thing for me is just be sincere, be humble. Remember that we too are human beings. That goes so far. I can say some of my favorite relationships are those of the people that are humble through all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly. We're human too. We make mistakes. We're not perfect. And even through those moments too, just remembering that, we're human beings. That goes so far in a relationship, in a partnership. And I feel like even too, with just the buyers and sellers and lenders, everybody involved, just be sincere with people, be nice, be humble, and be kind. It goes a long way. It makes the transaction run so much better, and it makes the relationship go so much further. It really does.
Well, and you're talking specifically about humanity, right? Because that also means people have things happen, right? So outside of the office, like you have a life, you have a family, you take vacations once in a while, you get sick once in a while. And I can say like giving people the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
That they are still like in it to win it, but sometimes things happen and they can't respond immediately based on circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, people forget that in the stress of the transactions too. Like they just forget, and you don't know what's happening on the other side of their life. You don't know what's happening and going on in their world. So I mean, even it goes back to us too. Like we could be having a horrible day and then we get that phone call and somebody just tears us apart, and it's like, we're human. We're here to help you. That's our job. We're here to close a transaction successfully. So if people could just remember to be nice and kind and sincere, that's probably the biggest title turn on for me, is just having those partners and clients that are just sincere and humble.
One of the things I think is really special about Alysia that she has shared in our managers meetings too, and there are days that are, challenging, especially on the escrow front, where they just get, let's just be honest, they get beat up a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. And they will get a review online from Reach 150 about somebody telling them that they did a really good job on something, and it fires up the entire office. Oh, yeah. And they all celebrate each other because of the fact that somebody took 30 seconds out of their world to say thank you.
Mm-hmm. And that goes so far. Just even a thank you, because I can't tell you how many times we'll close transactions and the first thing somebody says is, when am I getting my money? It's not a thank you, it's when am I getting my money? And it's like, well, we don't say anything negative back, but it's like just remembering to say, go back to childhood, please and thank you. Like that's what counts to me. Like that is such a big thing to me, is remembering to say thank you, be nice, be sincere.
I couldn't agree more. We were actually talking about this in one of the previous episodes where I had, I've overheard people say some really interesting, let's not call it interesting, terrible things to their escrow partners. And I think to myself, like, where do you get off? Where do you get off with that kind of an attitude? Like okay, fine. Yes. We're in a business situation here, but like, these people are helping. These people are helping you make thousands, maybe tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands. For instance, in my $400,000 on the last deal that I did with you. Mm-hmm. And man, I can't believe I made like $400K on one deal. It was
yes,
great.
You can. Yes, you can.
But yes, I totally have seen it go the other way. And just, let me just say this on behalf of every investor who has never thanked you, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do.
Awesome. Now,
this is my favorite. This is my favorite.
Is what you want to ask this one?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
What turns you off, girl?
Ha!
One of my biggest turnoffs is unrealistic expectations. Let's just be real. The wholesale world, it flies fast. It does.
Yes, it does.
I have been able to close transactions. I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but I've been able to close transactions 24 to 48 hours.
I just had one happen with her, and it was 48 hours. And I was like, why in the world would we even say yes to this? This is insane.
Like, it can be done. Yeah, it can be done. But that also means everybody's got to play along, and title has to be clear. Let's be honest. If title's not clear, we're not closing in 3 days like you want your contract to close. But we will obviously always close it as soon as possible. But the biggest turnoff is just unrealistic expectations and just being rude. We're doing the very best that we can, I assure you. We are never going to purposely drop the ball and not get a transaction closed. But I would say unrealistic expectations is probably the biggest turnoff.
Is there ever like someone that's just such a knucklehead that you're like,
oh, she's gonna fire a client.
Maybe I'll just let this person go to voicemail.
Yeah. Sometimes I have to. I call it training people. Like we want to get the transaction done as quickly as you do too, but I can't have the phone ringing every 4 minutes with people checking in every 4 minutes. Well, we won't ever get it done. Like that's where we're like, okay, that person's gonna go to voicemail for a few minutes because we know we want it done. We're going to get it done, and we will get it done as fast as we can.
Well, and they're going to do the right thing to make it happen too.
Yeah.
So there's got to be that trust factor, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I have fired a client before.
How do you do that? What do you say? It's
kindly sever the
not
relationship.
Me, it's you?
Yeah, just kindly sever the relationship and just tell them it's not working out. It's just, there's a conflict, and we're going to have to, for the better of both worlds, move the relationship elsewhere. I've only ever had to do it once, so we're knocking on wood there. That doesn't have to happen again.
Well, because typically there's a lot of education involved before you get to that point, right?
Yes.
Where there's reassessment of expectation.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Got it.
So it's got to be a win-win relationship, right?
Always.
It's got to be reciprocal.
Everything has to be
make
win-win.
sense.
Otherwise, what's the point? You know, like I don't want to be anything where I'm winning and you're losing. I got to hang out with you, or I got to talk to you. And you know, nobody likes to be in a zero-sum game. Let's just put it that way, right?
No.
It is not fun. Well, Alysia, I've got a bit of a turn that I want to take with you because you know we've all had you know, interesting, very kind of spooky deals we've been involved in. And, you know, I've bought a property. Well, I tried to buy a triplex actually in Mesa, Arizona, where we walked into the house and there was a deceased woman in a bathtub that had been there for multiple weeks, just kind of, you know, doing her thing. And so that was a hard day for all of us, myself, you know, and the people that I was around. You know, not to get morbid or anything, but do you have any ghost stories that you can share with us from your 17 years in the title business?
And it doesn't mean there's somebody buried in the closet.
We have somebody named Mr. Skeleton in the chat, by the way. So
that's awesome. I have a transaction. Actually, I wouldn't call it necessarily a ghost story, but it is. I guess it would be a story of honesty. I had a transaction when I was in California, when I was doing escrow in California. So I've been in Arizona since 2009. So this was long ago. We had some child support judgments pop up on a transaction, and the guy swore up and down that they weren't his.
His babies or his
child support.
Weren't his, so they weren't his babies, so they couldn't be his liens.
Ooh.
They ended up being his, and we got to the table for signing, and he brought his wife. Wife had no idea about the extra babies he had in his life.
Oh, I'd call that a ghost.
Yeah.
I would absolutely
I
say
have never forgotten that transaction. It is literally the one transaction that sticks out in my mind. That was the most awkward encounter I've ever had in a transaction. Yeah, it's one I'll never forget.
So did she like have to sit there while he disclosed all the ghosts? The baby ghosts?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Kindly left the room, let them have some time to themselves. And then she ended up leaving and he finished his signing. But to be that person to disclose that secret, that was not fun. That was not fun.
Was he trying to get you like, was he giving you the like?
No, he swore up and down it wasn't his, and he was like, it's yours. The social security number's a match, dude. It's yours.
Oh my
You're
gosh.
like, did you have to do DNA testing in the office?
No, she had Maury pop up underneath the desk and be like,
it was all
you are the father.
It sounds like a Jerry Springer.
Yeah,
no,
Jerry
Maury
Povich
was, you are the father, you are not the father, and the lie detector says that you are the father.
Ooh.
Yeah, Jerry Springer was the extra girlfriends that would pop in.
Yeah. That was just like, let's get into a scrap on national television.
Yeah.
All right, so you know,
That's
it was a fantastic story. Thank you for sharing that. You know, I love just hearing, you know, the interesting things that we get to see about humanity that happen when we're dealing with title. But you you know, in Arizona specifically, right? We've got some pretty interesting things that we have within our, you know, board approved contracts, but
we're the wild, wild west.
Yeah, we are a little bit of the wild, wild west. So, you know, I think, is there anything that you've seen that could be a potential
title trap?
I would go back to what you meant versus what you wrote. That's a big one. That's a big one. And all my Fidelity people who are listening know who would quote that. But it is a huge, huge thing. What you meant versus what you wrote in a contract could make or break a deal, could cause you to lose your client's earnest money. So be very specific in what you are trying to accomplish, because the wording alone could change the entire thing.
Wow. Okay, so
can you give us an example of that? Yeah.
Earnest money. Earnest money, specifically, non-refundable earnest monies. Non-refundable means non-refundable. And we're seeing a ton of disputes with that in the wholesale world. Obviously, they have to have probable cause, but I would also say too, with your credits, we get it a lot of time where the credit is specific, but that's not what the agent meant. They meant any and all closing costs.
So you mean like seller's credit?
Like, yeah, seller's concessions. Even in a wholesale transaction, when you're doing credits from assignments, there's a lot of times where we are not in the know of that, and then we'll get an addendum that says, oh, there's a credit of XYZ, but there's no indicator as to who's paying it, where is it coming from. So be very specific in your verbiage. Be very specific in the verbiage, because it, again, can come back and make or break your deal or cause an issue down the road.
We talked a teeny bit about that actually on our first episode. Jamil was actually giving over his specific language when it comes to his assignment contract. And I'll let him to speak to what specifically he puts in his assignment contracts. But I talked to an investor last week and they said, oh, well, we just put in our assignment contracts that this may or may not be assigned. And I was like, do you think that's good enough? Because to be honest with you, you may or may not assign it because you may do something else with it. And if you don't disclose that, is that a problem?
Right.
Yeah. So the verbiage I actually use, Alysia, is buyer is an LLC in the business of buying and selling real estate for a profit. Buyer may elect to fix and flip, hold for rent, and or wholesale, which will be determined, exit strategy will be determined during inspection period at buyer's sole discretion.
Which is way more specific than buyer may or may not assign.
In your opinion, how important is that disclosure and the descriptiveness of what we are explaining to the people that we're in contract with?
It's very important, because then, I mean, I would say too, you avoid a lot of problems when you are very specific in your intent. It is when you're not specific in your intent where people tend to get upset, or obviously then you've got the deal on fire because people are freaking out because that's not what was disclosed, because that's not what was written in your contract. So again, going back to what you meant versus what you wrote, it is very important. It is important to disclose those things. And the more you disclose on your side as a contract writer, as the person writing that contract, the better protected you are going to be. So I'm a firm believer in cover your butt.
Yeah.
Do whatever it takes to cover your butt, so you don't have to worry that this deal could go sideways because I didn't disclose that I may or may not flip this. I may or may not assign it. I may or may not hold it and keep it as a rental. Like, it just, I mean, you can go on and on with that, but being very specific with what it is your intention is, or what you may foresee happening, is so important in your contracts, because then you won't run into as many problems.
Especially because what you said at the very beginning, which is wholesale happens fast. So you don't know what you're going to do, but you want to make sure you're covered.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yep.
So, of course, when we're dealing with investor files and working, for me specifically, I work with real estate agents. And as you guys are probably aware, real estate agents can be fiercely loyal to their title companies because it's something that we know that makes title people happy. It matters, right? Now, of course, when you're doing wholesale or creative finance, it's really important that you control title because you want to make sure that the title company that you're going to be working with is familiar with the mechanisms or the instruments that we use to do business, right? For instance, if I nothing against Lawyers Title, I actually think they're a great company. They've, whatever. I've been involved in transactions that they're a part of, but they're very hard to wholesale with, right? They're just, I have not found a lot of escrow officers at Lawyers Title that are familiar with wholesaling assignments or double closing, right? And so if I see that a real estate agent wants to use Lawyers Title, I will typically say, no, dig my heels in and say, it's got to be Fidelity and I want it to be this office. Again, that's not throwing shade at any title company because I think they're all wonderful and they all are great for their specific types of business. But for you, what would you say would be a great way to make sure or to ensure that you can direct title?
Well, from a seller side standpoint, like if you were listing the transaction, we do offer the hold open policies. So that is a discounted policy. But if you're doing it from the buyer side, I would say explaining the relationship and the reasoning behind your request to use that title person in specific. A lot of title companies, they do wholesales, but they are such an interesting craft that not every escrow officer, not even every escrow officer in our company is allowed to do them because they are so creative and they're so intricate.
Right. Which is, I think, the reason why because Lawyers Title is great. I know they're a Fidelity company, and so they're wonderful. There's so many great people there. But like you just said, maybe they're not allowed to. They may not be insured for that. So that could be a very important thing to think about.
Well, it's the same thing with us. Like we've got certain escrow officers that are passionate about investor stuff. Certain ones that are passionate about commercial, that are really, really, really good at luxury residential, So you want to definitely keep your transactions with people that are passionate about that space.
Well, awesome. And two, like with, at Fidelity, at least, like for all of our partners that we work with consistently, we get their entity docs approved. We don't have to go through the monotony of digging, getting that part cleared. So that is a little bit of a leverage too that, investors can use too when they maintain their business relationship with their title company, is saying, they've got all of my stuff approved. This is going to move really quickly. I've closed X amount of deals with them. This is why I would love to use them, because it is a little bit more difficult on the wholesale side to direct. I know that. But I would say using that to your leverage, use your relationship to your leverage, and let us shine. Let us shine. Let us prove it. Let us do our part to prove that to them.
And I love the humility behind that, because that is exactly true. And we've had a lot of new investors who have been referred to us. You specifically, Alysia. I've talked to several, and some of them have come from Keegley, some of them have come from our other partners, and they've said, I don't have a track record with Fidelity yet. These people want proof that I'm credible. Can you vouch for me? Well, until we've done a deal with you where you put your money where your mouth is, and you told people you were going to close and you came to the finish line and you did it, we can't help you there.
Right. Yeah. Well, you can only say what's true.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So if you want somebody to vouch for you, then get the title company that you've been working with to vouch for you up until this point. Right. I can vouch for the fact that you're a nice person so far.
Exactly.
Right. But I get it. I completely understand what you're saying. But once you do establish a track record with somebody, then it's a very real thing that you could ask your title company to do for you is to vouch for you with respect to a seller, right?
Absolutely. We
do that often?
Yeah, all the time. I'll get new contracts and they'll be like, hey, this seller's going to call you. Can you just, give them, the warm and fuzzies about our relationship? And we do it all the time. I have no qualms about doing that for my partners and business partners. Like, we have a relationship for a reason. So why would we not do that? We maintain that relationship for a reason.
Awesome.
And Alicia's also done a really great job of working with investors from like their very first transaction, which is like one of the scary things, right? So if any of you guys are watching this and you've never done a deal and you're like, I don't even know how to leverage a title company or how to have a conversation with a title company or what that looks like, you just pick up the phone and you have a conversation with Alysia and say, hey, here's who I am. Here's what I'm thinking. We've gone to the point where one of her clients right now, I mean, we've closed hundreds of deals with them now, but it started with, we had to help them connect to getting LLC docs formulated, right?
Yeah.
So what tips do you have for investors who might be new or might be seasoned?
Build your relationship. Find a good, solid escrow officer and build that relationship. We're here to help. We're gonna coach you. We can coach you through this process. Myself personally, I have done the wholesale transactions for 12 years now. So I have helped many of the investors that we work with start from the ground up, like you said, Dina, and that's what we're here for. So build that relationship with somebody that you can trust, and that can mentor you and help you through that. And then build relationships as you close those transactions with the people that you've worked with, the investors that you're working with. And I will say the biggest thing in all of the transactions that I've done is the biggest thing that investors want is people that close the deals. They don't want you coming into the deal, promising the world, and then backing out at the 9th hour. And that is the biggest thing. Stay committed to the commitment that you made, because that is what's going to drive your business in the wholesale industry, is your promise to close a transaction. It's the ones that don't.
Everything.
Yes, it's everything in the wholesale world. In my opinion, it's everything when it comes down to, even marketing those properties. Okay, 15 of these people won't close it, so I'm not even going to send them to them. I'm only going to send it to these 10 that I know that will actually close. That's a huge thing. Build those relationships with the people that close the deals, that actually get them done.
Every day that ends in Y, she gets somebody saying, who should I give this opportunity to?
Wow.
It's true.
Yeah.
And they typically want 5 names.
Yeah.
I'm here. And I have 5 different nicknames I can give you all.
I have a couple myself.
What's the largest wholesale deal you've ever seen? Like the largest profit?
You mean on a wholesale side or a double escrow?
On a double escrow, yeah. On a quick
profit
sell.
Profit or money in the middle?
Profit. Like just, money in the middle on the quick flip.
Well, okay. So are we talking? Okay. Let's see. Assignment fee wise, you want to know the biggest one?
Like the middle, even if there's like a daisy chain.
Yeah, assignment fee or like double escrow.
I've had a few that have been over 100,000 on the assignment fee.
Over 100K?
Mm-hmm. Just on the assignment fee. Assignment fee. I have had a couple where the profit turn in less than 3 weeks was 300,000.
Wow.
So they've been there's been some pretty big ones. For the most part, there for so long until the market started inflating the way that it has. Most wholesale deals weren't super, super large, but in the last, year and a half, they've gotten larger. The spreads have gotten a little bit tighter. We're starting to see that open up a little bit more, but we just did a couple $1 million wholesale deals. The profit margins were a little bit tighter, but they were big ones.
Wow. So wait, they made over $1 million? They made $1 million in profit?
Close. Yeah.
Bigger than your
moly.
400?
Bigger, yeah, obviously bigger than mine.
Whoa.
I was trying to I was trying to get her to say that mine was the biggest she's ever seen.
that
Yours
why
was up until a little bit ago.
What kind of transaction was it? Was it land? Was it a building? Was it?
It was a multi-unit.
Because I'm trying to give people like breadcrumbs, right?
Yeah.
So mine was also multi-unit. So like a multi-unit whole like quick flip gave me a massive profit. Were you involved in my land deal that I did out in Chandler?
When you lost money or won money?
I made money on that one. Yeah, we did really well on that.
I don't think so. I don't recall.
Like
I don't think so.
Oh, that was the builder deal.
That
Yeah.
was,
yeah.
I did like
with
270.
Chris.
That was in Arcadia.
Yes.
That one I did okay. You were involved in that, right?
No, I don't think I was on the
land
other
deal.
one.
Okay.
No.
Anyhow, just I guess there's people out there making more money than me, and I'm fine with it.
There's money to be made.
Can you connect me to that individual, though? By the way, that you did that deal happened with, because I'd like to be in that person's world so that we can do some big deals together.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move to my favorite segment.
Yep.
Are you ready for the
the
quickie question?
Yes, quickie questions, guys.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. The quickie questions are my favorite. I love this. Yeah. All right, you start.
Okay, we got our intro music, so we can kill that. What was the last thing that you Googled, Miss Alysia Moore?
I'm an avid HGTV watcher, so it's probably something related to that. So hang on. Let's see. It actually drives my husband crazy. He's like, really? We're watching more house shows? Yes, we are.
Are you watching Jamil's on a regular?
Do you watch my show?
You know what? I
Triple digit flip?
Don't ask me that. I don't.
You need to get your husband hooked on that one. I watch it with my family. It's our Sunday TV show.
Yay.
Okay. Well, the last thing I Googled was Mina Starsiak Contractor, because I don't know if you're familiar with that name. It's the Good Bones girl.
No, I haven't seen it. Is she good?
They're fun. It's her and her mom, but she blasted one of her contractors for not paying his bills. And I was trying to show somebody what she blasted on social media about him, but she must have taken it down because now it's gone. That's what I was looking for.
Hey, are you a fan of Tarek Al-Musa's?
I am, but yeah.
What? Hold on a second. What was the hesitation there?
I'm not sure.
I'm a fan of his. I don't know that I'm a big fan of his new wife.
Oh, she's amazing.
I don't know them. I don't know them personally. I'm just telling you what I see on TV.
She's really great. I met her last Saturday, and
for the first time
in person.
Okay.
Yeah. She's a wonderful lady. She's a new mom, so it's just like she's just happy being a mom and being awesome. Yeah, but I was gonna say that they're doing an event at the end of the month, and you should come in and
maybe it'll change your opinion.
Yeah,
maybe it'll change my opinion.
Yeah.
I would love to.
They're doing an event here in Scottsdale that you should attend.
Okay.
I'll send you the details on it,
yes.
and you should definitely attend. And I'll introduce you. I'll say, hey, Tarek, this is one of your biggest fans, and I'll say, hey, Heather, she don't like you too much.
No, don't say that.
Okay, so to flip the script here, me and my family are on season 2, episode 4
of my show,
of your show.
Okay.
So next Sunday it'll be episode 5.
Come on, what's the episode called?
I don't know yet because I haven't got there.
Okay.
But they're very fascinated.
Yeah.
They want to know how many deals that you're doing outside of the one that's on TV.
Oh, lots. The ones the ones on TV, they're just like they only it's like 10. We do 10 in a season, right?
That's gonna be fun to juggle that.
Television and the rest of my life?
Yeah.
No. It's hard. It's really hard. Honestly, like I'm a real estate investor, not an entertainer.
Yeah.
You used to be a stand-up comedian.
Yeah. I used to be.
For those of you that did not know that, fun fact about Jamil Damji.
Mm-hmm. Once upon a time, I was a stand-up comic.
And now you're a sit-down podcaster.
Now I'm a sit-down.
Well, fast question for you. Why did you change? What made you change?
What, from comedy to real estate? Well, actually, I was in real estate first, and then went broke, and then I was so I was so disenchanted with real estate and just how I had lost millions of dollars and I felt so bad. And so that I went to become a comedian, but you don't make any money as a comedian. Like comedians are broke. Like you're basically broke until you're Kevin Hart.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
he didn't want to be broke.
No. And also like I was getting married and my wife, you know, so my wife and my daughter were moving to the United States to come in and start a life with me here.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't be that guy. I couldn't be that guy that wasn't going to give a good life to my family. And just, I knew that I had a talent in real estate, and I'm sitting here selfishly standing on stage, telling bad jokes to people who aren't laughing at them and thinking that something's going to happen there when I literally have this incredible opportunity in wholesale real estate handed to me. You know, it's so easy for me to do this because like I understand value and I know how to comp, and I'm just like naturally talented at that. So I felt that by not doing it, I was letting down, you know, my entire family and what could be a really beautiful future for us. And then look at what happened.
I know. Well, good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. So what is your most memorable deal?
Oh, well, I've done a handful of athlete transactions, some musicians.
Do musicians have their financials in order to close on a regular? Do musicians have their financials in order?
You know what? On those types of transactions, we don't get to see that.
So it's just
very rare. It's very rare that we get to see the financial piece of things. There are some that I have seen the financials, and there's some transactions like those where we actually get to communicate with the actual individual. Most of the time you're communicating with their PR people and all of the, you know, all of that. It's very rare that you actually physically either see them, get to sign them, or get to talk to them. I have had a few instances where I've been lucky enough and fortunate enough to meet a few and be face to face with them. So that's been pretty cool. Unfortunately, I can't name names, but those are, you know.
I'm a big music fan. I think life is better with music.
Yes.
Can you give us the rhyming version of them? Like I did a deal with Mrake.
What's Mrake?
Break. Yeah, or DJ Ballad.
No.
You mean Colin?
I don't even know off the top of my head what would
rhyme. Okay, no. It's all right. I'm not going to put you in that spot. Here's Dina's got another good one for you right now.
What are you reading right now?
You're gonna laugh at me.
No,
I can't.
It's gotta be Row the Boat. It's gotta be Row the Boat because we're going on a boat.
I've already read that.
Oh,
I've already read that. Yeah. I read that real fast.
All right.
But I'm really bad. I don't read because I fall asleep when I read because it relaxes me too much. So I have to listen to it. I have to listen to audibles.
Okay, what are you listening
to?
I
love that.
I'll go to sleep.
I call that reading too.
Yeah. But the last one that I did listen to was actually Prince Harry's book, The Spare.
Oh, The Spare?
Yes.
Was that sad?
It was actually kind of sad. It was sad to hear the inner conflicts that he's had. It was a little eye-opening actually, but it was good. It was good. I would listen to it again for sure. For sure.
Dang.
Okay, what's your biggest takeaway from Row the Boat? Because I know you read that, and our whole company's read it, and we're going on a boat next week to just make it all come to life, which I'm very excited about. What do you love about that book?
I loved the portrayal of projecting forward. Don't stay in the past. Don't stay in the back. Just continue to row forward over the hurdles, past, just past the negative. Just keep moving forward, because if you read that book, you know his story, you know what actually prompted that book. It just keep moving forward. Don't stay stuck in the moment, especially in the bad moments. That's like the worst thing you could do. Get out of those moments. And I'm a firm believer too. Just move on from the past. You can't change it. So my biggest takeaway from that book is just keep rowing forward, keep moving forward. Just project the good, the positive, and just keep moving. Keep moving. Yeah. And if you project that, your team is going to project that behind you, and you are going to start to see those results. I mean, biggest thing to be successful. If it's not coming from here, how can you expect it to come from anybody else that you are trying to coach, lead, or anything in that nature?
100%. What you focus on expands. And if you're focusing on what's next and what's forward instead of what's behind you, everybody wins.
Yeah.
Pretty beautiful philosophy. Yeah. What is something quite ordinary that you have never done? Like, for instance, this woman has never eaten a hamburger before.
And Jody has never eaten fish before.
So I'm not a fish person. I have tried it, but I'm not a fish person either. So I've never been skiing.
You've never been skiing?
I've never been skiing. Wow. And I'm from Wyoming. And I've never been skiing.
I saw you in my head wearing a ski suit
outfit.
Yeah,
cute ski suit, pink and blue.
Right? Like super
purple.
Yeah, like one of those aristocratic,
because she's tiny.
Aristocrats who goes to Aspen for winter.
Yeah, fur. I definitely see some fur.
Yeah.
Gosh, that is that's off-brand, Alysia. You gotta get your
I think I've seen you in a ski suit at pep rally one time or something with some.
No, you saw me dressed up as Shaq. And Jamil, I'm not even 5 foot on a good day. So you can only imagine how ridiculous I looked. I mean, my clothes were huge. My shoes were like this. Yeah, it was a good time.
Good things come in small packages.
Yeah. I want to ask, how I'm not gonna ask.
No, we got to keep going. Yeah, we got to keep going. We got a hard stop.
Yes, we do.
We got to give away $100.
We do. Okay.
Oh yes.
For you.
Best or worst advice you've ever been given or received?
I was given this from my mother long ago, and it was know your worth. Know your worth, and don't let anybody ever doubt your worth. But I think too, behind that comes a lot of responsibility too.
Absolutely.
You have to know your worth. You have to be able to prove your worth as well.
Which comes back to you feeling very confident playing hard to get, which is what we talked about at the very beginning, right?
True.
Because it's just your value, right? Like, you know what you have to offer. You know how important what it is that you're bringing to the table. And rock star advice. Go mom. She got you in the business as a title baby, and she's giving you the best advice that you're still sharing with us 17 later on this podcast.
Yeah.
So yay, mama.
Yes.
Hey, what's your mom's name, by the way?
My mom's name is Dana.
Dana?
Yay,
Dana, you did a great job, Dana.
Yes.
I will tell her to watch this so that she can hear you say that.
I don't think I've met your mama. You've met mine a few times, but I don't think I've met yours.
Yes. My mom actually comes out every first week of May for my birthday and my daughter's birthday. So she'll be here in a couple of weeks.
Oh, fun. Okay, so we're going to have to go to something really quick just because we have a hard stop today at 6 and we promised to give away $100 before that. But there was somebody that wrote a really, really nice review that I think Jamil wants to share.
Yeah, so Slide Whistle Who? Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller said Jamil and Dina are amazing. You can tell these guys really know their stuff, and I can't wait to listen to more. Unfortunately, he is disqualified from winning the $100 because he works at Key Glee, and it just doesn't count.
I didn't even know that on his Insta handle.
No, it doesn't. So I'm gonna go to another. Who's
what's so cool about Steven?
Sever07.
He texts me. I can't wait to see you tonight.
Yeah, he's amazing.
I love Steven.
Sever007.
007. You got Bond in the name?
Yeah. Okay, if you are G Sever007, send me a DM and we will Zelle you or something $100. Otherwise, this will roll over like a lottery into next week. So go and leave us a review on Apple or Spotify podcast review section or whatever. And next week we're gonna give away another $100 or $200 depending on who has left us a review. So, Alysia, is there any charity that you're passionate about?
I'm actually super super passionate about the Child Crisis Center, the foster care center there in Mesa. We actually have a family member that works there, and I'm super passionate about kids and kids that don't have parents. So we do a lot of donations for them. We do it through our church. We do it as a family. We do it through friends. We've actually did it through our office a couple years ago. So that's probably the biggest charity that I like to give to, because those kids, they need to know that they're loved, and when they don't have, a consistent person in their life.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And if anyone feels inspired to volunteer or donate to that charity, please do, and send Alysia Moore a message and let her know that you did. Alysia, if people want to do business with you here in Phoenix, Arizona, how would you like them to reach out to you? Because there's a lot of people in the comments saying, how do we get Homegirl's contact information?
Homegirl. So you can reach me by sending me an email. Okay. I don't know if my name's popping up there on the screen or not, but it's alysia.moore@fnf.com. But my name is spelled a little unique, so it's ALYSIA.Moore with 2 O's @fnf.com.
Alysia.
Oh, that sounded kind of fun.
Alysia Moore. Yeah. Alysia, it was amazing seeing you today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for giving us your time.
She's still at the office, by the way.
Yeah,
have you noticed that?
Yeah, of course. I mean,
she's
dedicated AF. Star. Yeah, you really are a rock star, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I know you. I'm grateful for our relationship and all the deals that we had done in the past and that we'll do in the future. Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Guys, reach out to Alysia Moore. She is a rock star title officer. She can do assignments, double escrows, wraps, you name it. She can do it all. You definitely want to check her out if you are doing deals in Phoenix, Arizona. That is your rock star title officer, Alysia. Thank you.
Thank you. Grateful to be on here today.
Awesome.
And if any of you guys are watching and you are not in Arizona and you want to get connected to somebody in Fidelity other places, send an email to titletalk@fnf.com, and I'm happy to connect you.
Titletalk@fnf.com. Dina Jones will connect you to a rockstar title officer in whatever area you're in. From myself, Dina Jones, and Fidelity, thank you for tuning in to Title Talk, a real estate investing podcast. We will see you in a couple of weeks. Take care.